In the construction industry, concrete quality management issues are common, since when working with this material, it is often not understood correctly. One of the problems that occur when not vibrating the concrete properly is better known as honeycombing. Honeycombing is when there are coarse areas with an insufficient amount of fines that are seen as open cavities left in the concrete. Deep honeycombing will result in less covering around the steel reinforcement that will affect the structure's durability. Today we'll be looking at how to guarantee that honeycombing does not occur by ensuring proper concrete consolidation. This is the internal vibrator. The vibrator has a rod on the inside which causes the outer shell to vibrate. Different head sizes of the vibrator are used depending on what type of section needs to be vibrated. Before we start looking at the consolidation process, it is important to note that safety gloves should be worn at all times when using the internal vibrator. Let's start looking at the vibrating process. It is important that newly placed concrete immediately gets vibrated. When working with the mix, it is very important that the mix is not too stiff or too wet. When lowering the internal vibrator into the concrete, it is important that it is never forced down, but allowed to move down due to its own weight. The internal vibrator is left inside a certain position for 5 to 15 seconds, depending on how long it takes for all air bubbles to stop moving towards the surface. The internal vibrator is then slowly removed from the spot at a rate of 100 millimeters per second, before it is replaced 500 millimeters from the original spot. Proper consolidation will have occurred if a thin film of mortar is presented at the top of the surface, and if all air bubbles have stopped rising towards the surface. During the consolidation process, two common errors often occur. Under consolidation is when an area has not been properly vibrated and aggregates are visible at the surface. Over-consolidation is when an area has been vibrated for too long, causing all aggregates to move towards the bottom and only fines are visible at the surface. In conclusion, during the consolidation process, the following three aspects should always be remembered. That you should never force the vibrator down the concrete, that the vibrator should be left in one spot for 5 to 15 seconds, and that the vibrator should be left in one spot until all the air bubbles have stopped rising towards the surface.